Today we are going to uh, do a test called independent t-test. It is called as compare two means. That means we are going to compare the mean of two different groups which are given in the form of categorical. So one chart I have shown you yesterday, there was one mistake on the top in the second row that dependent variable and the dependent variable should come on vice versa columns. So that same test we are going to do today. So I have taken one example for the same. Like for example, we wish to compare the plasma glucose level, which is given in terms of millimole liter, that's the unit, between male and female. That means we have two different groups, or if a situation comes in your project when you have to compare two different groups, so that time independent variable will be given in the form of category, whereas dependent variable will be given in terms of numbers, and category are two. So when you have two category, then the test will be called independent t-test. Why we have chosen that we'll go for independent sample t-test, will not go for Mann-Whitney U, which is the alternative of independent sample t-test, because whenever we have got our data normally distributed, so what we have to do, we have to check the normality distribution of this dependent variable, which is called as plasma glucose. Okay, when we have checked the normality of plasma glucose and we have found that this we have got an exact bell-shaped curve for the same, so we have decided, okay, we'll go for the independent sample t-test. If the distribution of this plasma glucose was not found normal, then we have to go for the alternative of the independent sample t-test, that is called as Mann-Whitney U, MANN Mann-Whitney U test, which is the alternative of independent sample. That means everything will remain same in your project, but distribution of the data of the plasma glucose level was found not normal. So the test is going to be changed. So how to do it? But we are going to see by both way. This is the commands in the SPSS that we have to follow. First of all, you have to click on the analyze, then go for the compare mean. Compare mean is the command for all the parametric test in the SPSS. Then we have to click on the independent sample t-test. So once you will open the independent sample t-test dialog box, you are going to get a option that where to move the independent variable and where to move the dependent variable. And as I taught you in the previous classes, that whenever we are making our sheet, we have to do the coding. For example, to gender, we can in gender we have two different categories. In one category we can give one, and in second category we can give two. Like this, we have to mention here that to which category we have given what code. So the code has to be entered. For example, you can see on the line number or step number 7. Here I have used two different code, the code 0 and code 1, for two different groups. Two different group was there. So to one group I have used a code 0, and to another group I have used a code 1. For example, you can see at the bottom line, to female I have used a code 0, and to male I have used a code 1. So data of male and female was entered in SPSS in terms of 0 or 1. And after that, when you have mentioned this thing in the dialog box, you can click OK, and finally you are going to get the results of the independent sample t-test. We are going to do this test by both the way, manually as well as with the help of SPSS. And you can see this is the route for the SPSS. We have to click on analyze on the top, then go to the compare mean, and go to independent sample t-test. So this is the window of independent sample t-test, and this side you have made, you're going to see all the variable which you have made for your study, this side. Clear? Now test variable will be what? Test variable will be glucose. That means we have to find out the distribution of plasma glucose between male or female. Now null hypothesis says what? So So whenever we are going to run any particular test, we have to discuss about null hypothesis as well as alternative hypothesis of the test. Null hypothesis says that plasma glucose level of male is equivalent to female. That means both the group having a same level of plasma glucose. Whereas alternative hypothesis says that plasma glucose level of male and female is not similar, is not the same. So what you have to do, if your test was found significant, you have to reject this code. You have to reject that there is a difference in the plasma glucose level of male and female. If your test was found significant, then you are able to write that my result was found significant and null hypothesis was rejected. And in variable grouping box, you have to add the gender here. That means test will be applied between gender versus plasma glucose. So the data set 2.1, which I am going to send you, this contain the data of all these things. You are going to see that data of weight, height, BMI, glucose, cholesterol has been entered in a data set 2.1. So the same you can use also whenever you want to do practice. Once you will move the variable, here you have to define the groups. See, and now defined groups are looking somehow transparent color. Once I will move the gender here, it will glow and you are able to define the groups. You can see in the next slide. Here you can see that I have already moved the variable that glucose from this side to this side and gender was on the top and this side. But still with the gender you are getting a question mark. 2 question mark there with the gender. It means what? It means you have not defined the group. So to define the group, you have to click on the define group. This is the define group window. And here, see, here you have to enter those 2 codes which you have used to give the coding of gender. It is not necessary that you should mention here that female is given 0 or male is given 1 or female is given 1 or male is given 2. You just have to enter those 2 codes which you have used. Like I have used a 0 and 1. So I'll just enter. I will not mention here that which one group is male or which one group is female. I'll just enter there that group 1 was 0 and group 2 was male. Not bothering about male and female. Just we have to enter the codes which we have used while making our sheet. Then after that we have to do the continue. Once you click continue, you are going to get the results of the independent sample t-test. Now, as you can see on the screen, we have received 2 different tables, and these 2 different table means what? The first table is showing the descriptive statistics. As I told you that whenever we are writing a thesis or writing a research paper, we have to write the descriptive statistics of all the variable. So in first table, what we have got, the first table is representing that we have got the data of plasma glucose. Data of what? Data of plasma glucose by comparing gender. In gender, we are having 2 different categories. One was male, female, and second was male. 2 different category was there. Clear? Now, in our project, how many female was there? We have got it that 83, and how many male was there? 67. The total sample size is 150. Total sample size is 150. Now you can see that plasma glucose level of female is 5.6. The mean plasma glucose level is 5.6 and mean plasma glucose for the male is 5.4. Standard deviation we have got. So never write standard deviation after 2 decimal. So we'll take data till here. 1.38, like 1.38 and 1.26. That's it. After that digit, whatever we are going to get, that we are not going to take for the thesis. or for the research point of view. After decimal, only 2 digit we are going to take. So standard error we don't require. So from first table, what are the things which we have to take for research point of view? We have to take the n, we have to take the mean, we have to take the standard deviation. Only 3 things from the table. First table, table number 1. This is your table number 2. Now table number 2 is the result of independent sample t-test. The test is divided here into 2 different categories. The first one is from here, Leibniz test and t-test for equality of means. It means whenever you are going to apply independent sample t-test, the SPSS is going to give the result of t-test into 2 different terms. The first one represent the eligibility, that you were eligible for the test or not. And second one is the test result of independent t-test. Now, this eligibility means what? There was one scientist who have developed the eligibility on 2 different tests. One test will be called test for Leibniz, Levenes, and second one was test for homogeneity. I'm just writing like this with the mouse. This is the first test, this is the second test. These 2 tests we are using in statistics to find out the eligibility for the test. Now, in both the test, standards are different, which we are using normally in the statistics, like test for the normality distribution. So I'll write 0 here, and I'll say that test for the normality on the top, test for the normality distribution which we have completed. So these are the 3 tests in the statistics in which we are taking a cutoff point more than 0.05, more than 0.05. For all other tests, our test results are found to be significant when our cutoff point is less than this one, less than 0.05. So whenever we are applying test for the normality distribution, and whenever we are finding the results of Leibniz, and whenever we are finding the results of test for homogeneity, it means we have to find our p-value, it should be more than 0.05. That is the standard for these tests. For all other tests, the p-value should be less than 0.05. But for these tests particularly, the p-value should be more than 0.05 for the test to be significant. So this you have to remember. Now I'll remove all these things so that we can proceed with the test results. Now test for Leibniz results. What it's showing? It is showing a significant value which was found to be 0.063. 0.063. We have a 0 here and we have a point. Might be you are not able to see on the presentation, so I'll just mark it. Now this significant value is not the significant value of independent sample t-test. It's a significant value of the test for Leibniz, which represents the equality or not. It means what? It means either we have considered male and female as the 2 groups, and both groups were considered equal while applying the test. See, whenever you have to compare something, for example, if I want to compare 2 different groups, so I have to keep a equality between both the groups. So in which case this test will comes non-significant. For example, sample size is our 150, and in male we have got only 10 cases, and in female we are getting 140 cases. So in that case, we are going to get a test for Leibniz non-significant. But you can see here that in female we have got 83 and in male we have got 63. So there is a difference in the number of female and male. Female are somehow more as compared to male, but still the sufficient number are there to compare. So if you are getting a so much population in one group and only few number in, for example, as I have written the example that in female we have 140 and in male we have only 10 participants. So in that case, this p value is going to be reduced. It will reduce to less than 0.05. It means we are not eligible for the independent sympathy test because equality has not been maintained between both the group. So when equality has been maintained, then only we can compare something. Because for comparison, we have, if we have a two child at home and we want to know that who is having the more IQ score, clear? So what we will do, we will give the same diet to eat. We will give the same facilities for both the child to find out that either the IQ of this boy or this girl is having a more as compared to the another one. So whenever you want to compare, you have to give all the facilities, all the requirements which you are giving in the project similar to both the groups. Then only you can compare. Otherwise, it will be called as bias in the research. So as you can see that our p-value was found to be more than, it's little bit more than, it's we see cutoff point is 0.05 and we have got 0.063, which is more than 0.05, and we can say that okay, our value is little bit more than cutoff point, so test passes. It passes, and we have proven that we have a equality as per the test for Leibniz for both the group. As the number of male and number of female will come equal, you are going to get a very high value. You are going to get a value like this 0.25, 0.26, something like that. Okay. So once you have maintained the equality and you have proven that you are eligible for the test, it means you can proceed for the independent sympathy test. Otherwise, you have to stop here only. You are not eligible to read the further results. So we'll see that what we have found in the, I'm seeing that most of the participants are sending a queries. So I'll take all the queries at the end once I'll finish the session that time, because in front of screen I have a presentation. I'm not able to see the query. I'm seeing in the another system which is nearby to me on this system. So we'll see that what we have got in the test results, as we have calculated the t-score in the one sympathy test. The same way we have got the t-score here. We have got a degree of freedom here. Now, degree of freedom formula for independent sympathy test is n minus 2. It's n minus 2. So our sample size is 150 minus 2. We should have got the value of 148. The same we have got here, 148. And you can see this is the p-value which we have to refer. This p-value which we have to compare with the 0.05. Now you can see we have got a very large value. The value we have got is 0.493, which is so much bigger than cutoff point. It means we are not able to reject the null hypothesis. We are not able to reject the null hypothesis. Our test results are found non-significant. We have got the non-significant result. It means what? It means we are not able to reject the null hypothesis, which was saying that male having the similar plasma glucose level as compared to female. Now we are not able to reject this thing because our p-value was found very big, this one. It means this has become true, that male and female having a at least similar plasma glucose level, because you can see that here there's a difference of very minute. How much difference is there? The mean difference value was found to be 0.15. Higher the value of mean difference, the more of the chances we are having a result to be significant. I repeat again, higher the value of mean difference, it means we have a chances for the test to be significant and we are able to reject the null hypothesis. But here you can see that we have got a mean difference value in 0.15. That means there is a difference between both the male and female is around 1.05, something like this, 150, not even 1. So test was found not significant. So till here, from last table, what are the values which we should include in the thesis? We should write the significant value of the Leibniz, that either we were eligible for the test or not. So you can write in such a way that Leibniz test p-value was found to be more than 0.05. So equality, it was proven that equality has been maintained for both the group. And after that you can write that t-score was found to be so and so. You have to write the degree of freedom value and you have to write the significant value as well as the mean difference. We don't require these value which is given in the last three columns. So wherever I have tick marked the value of t, value of degree of freedom, significant value, which is written two-tailed, that we have to take for the independent sample t-test and the mean difference value. So how the result will be written? You can see this is the output sheet for the result. It is summarizing that first table representing what? This I have already discussed. This is a way of writing that it shows that mean of glucose for female is just slightly higher than the male. And you can write both the value. I have not written here mean or SD. So if you want, you can write along with mean and SD. For example, whenever you are writing a value of plasma glucose for male, along with that 5.6, you should write the how much is the SD. SD is 1.3. So along with that, you should write the 1.3 in the bracket. Since Leibniz test for equality of variance shows p-value this much, 0.065, we can assume that variance are equal. That means variance for the both male and female was equal. There was no partiality between both the groups. So here it is saying that what I have discussed about the Leibniz test, so not that much important. So like this, you have to find out the results of independent sample t-test by using MLA style. You can write. So this p-value should be more less than 0.05 for the test to be significant. This one, it should be less than 0.05. Then only you can say that your p-value is less than 0.05 and your test result to be significant. And there is a difference between the plasma glucose level of male and female. So here, with this much of large p-value, what we can assume? We can assume that plasma glucose level of male and female are equal or similar, and we are not able to reject the null hypothesis. The test results were found non-significant. This is the formula which we are using in the whenever we want to do independent sample t-test manually. Now you can see what we have in the formula. T is representing to t-score. X bar 1 is the first group and X bar 2 is the second group. For example, we have two different groups, so you can assume that this is the male and this is the female. And here S is representing to standard error of group 1, for example male, minus standard error of group 2, female. So if you have if you have more than two groups, you are not eligible for this test. This independent sample t-test will be applied only and only for the two samples. If you have one sample, then you are going only for student t-test or one sample t-test which we did yesterday. And for two sample, this test is recommended. If sample size is more than 2, for example 3, 4, 5 or 6, then we have a test called ANOVA. We have a test called ANOVA. So for two samples, we are using this. So if you want, you can take the screenshot of the formula. The more technical formula is given at the bottom, but both are used by the person, those who are using a test. Now, in exams, which type of question we are going to get? You can see the top of the screen, that calculate a independent sample test of the following data. That means examiner is going to give you a data set of two different populations. For example, data set for A and data set for B. So this is the data set for A and this is the data set for B. Now, null hypothesis of this test is what? That data set of A is equal to data set of B. So you have to reject this thing, then only you can say that test was found significant. So to calculate the independent sample t-test, we have to follow 4 different steps. The test is divided into 4 steps. 4 steps you have to learn. So we'll take like this: step 1, step 2 and step 3 one by one. So in each steps we have to use a different different formulas. For example, in for step number 1 we have to calculate the mean. After that we have to calculate the sum of squared, we used to call SS, all these things. So in step 1, what you can see what we did for both the groups, group A and group B, we have to sum all. First of all, if data is not given in the order, for example lower order to higher order or in ascending order, you have to arrange in a ascending order. Once you have arranged in a ascending order, then you can count that how many number was given. That you can see that 10 value are there in dataset A and 10 value is there in dataset 2. So might be it is possible that examiner will give 10 or different value in the opposite groups. For example, 10 value in dataset A and only 6 or 7 value in dataset B. So it is possible. So the number of value is not going. Sorry, the number of value is not going to affect the test results. Once what we have to do, we have to, in step number 1, we have to find out the sum. You have to do the sum of all, as we did. I got 35 for group A and 50 for group B, and I have calculated NA, means group A. N of the sample size of group A is 10, and sample size which is representing as small n of group B was found 10. That means in both group we have a equal number, 10 and 10. In step 2, we have to do the squared of the sum. 35 into 35, square of 35 and square of 50. We have got the value 1125 and 2500. In step 3, we have to calculate the mean. And you can see that here that 35 divided by 10, we have got 3.5. That is the mean. And in another, we have got the mean, this one, that 50 divided by 10, we have got 5. So this 3.5 and 5 is the mean which we have to calculate. Sum of all divided by 10 and sum of all in group B divided by 10 we are going to get. So 3 value we have calculated here in the 3 different steps. It's the first value, sum. This is the sum of squared and the mean. Sum sum of squared and the mean. We'll go to the step number 4. Step number 4, we have to square the individual score, that square of first reading, square of second reading, square of third reading, square of fourth reading, square of fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever the readings are there, you have to do the square of all, and you are going to get a single value. So like this, square of individual score we have to do, and we have to find the sum of all. So here we have got the fourth value, this one. Clear? So after that, what we have to do, we have to insert the value in the previous formula here. And if we want to find out the standard error of group A and group B, we have to expand the formula with this, that how we are going to expand the formula. So all these things we have calculated in the previous steps. For example, mean of A minus mean of B groups, this we have calculated in step number 3. Step number 3, here we have calculated here 3.5 and 5. So this 3.5 and 5 you have to write on the top. Here you are going to write, just take a pen here. Instead of mean of A was found 3.5 minus 5. So instead of these two values, we have to replace sum of data set A squared, sum of data set B squared, this one, sum of data set squared, and sum of data set B squared. This we have calculated in step 2. You can see here in step 2, this is the value. So all this value we have to replace by reading these. I have explained everything here, and you can see that I have added all the values which we have calculated in all the 4 steps. As you can see that at the bottom we are finding the formula for degree of freedom, that NA plus NB minus 2, that is group 1 plus group 2, sample size of group 1 and sample size of group 2 minus 2. In the previous when we have applied through SPSS, the sample size was 150. Male we were somehow it was around we'll see how much it was, 83 and 67, total was 150, and if we'll do minus 2, we have got the value 148. The same we are going to get here in the formula. So this is the formula for degree of freedom at the bottom. So as you can see, we have it that 10 was there under group A, 10 was there under group B. So we got 20 minus 2, 18. 18 is the degree of freedom. So as you will follow all the steps, step number 5 we have completed, and step number 6 we have to find out the degree of freedom. This is the formula I have written for all the tests. For example, for student t-test, the degree of formula is n minus 1. For independent sample t-test, degree of freedom formula is this one, sample size NA minus 1 plus NB minus 1. So we are going to get this one. Okay, directly you can do n minus 2. And for ANOVA, which we are going to do tomorrow, the most important test called 1-way ANOVA, we are going to get a value for degree of freedom similar to the student t-test. We are not going to do n minus 3, n minus 4 or n minus 5. It is recommended as n minus 1 for the 1-way ANOVA only. So here you can see that by using this independent sample t-test degree of freedom formula, we have got this 18. So this 18 we are going to use in the t distribution table. Like yesterday I have shown a t distribution table to you, and we have used a degree of freedom 29 to look for the standards. Like the same way today we'll row number 18 to look for the standard value for the t distribution. So as you will proceed with the formula, as you can see that we have got here value minus 1.69. This was the t score. This is minus 1.69 is the t score. But at degree of freedom 18, at the alpha level of 0.05, and we are assuming that our p-value is 0.05, the t-score that was found to be 2.10. It is the test value which will be given by the examiner to you. What you have to do, this 2.10 from where we have got from the table. So calculated value we have to match with a tabulated value. I'll show that how we are going to take a value from the table, and you can see that I'll take the pen so that it will be easy for you to find out. Degree of freedom 18, we have to look, and 0.05 from the bottom, and we have got 2.10. This is the value 2.10 will take as a standard to compare. So our score which we have calculated was found to be minus 1.69. So what we have to do, we have to compare this 1.69 with this 2.0, and we'll see that what the standard says. In step number 8, we have to compare the value. The calculated value of minus 1.69 is less than the cutoff of 2.10 which we have taken from the table. It means what? Therefore, p-value is more than 0.05. As p-value is greater than alpha, we cannot conclude that there is a difference between the mean. So, for your result to be significant, what we require? We require the calculated score more than this. This score which we have calculated, it should be more than 2.10 for the result to be significant, and p-value should be less than 0.01. So for each statistical test, there is some standards which you have to refer. You cannot remember the standard for all the 16 or 17 tests which we are commonly using in the stat. You have to write on the notebook, you have to make a notes, and whenever you are applying a test, that you have to come back, check across that what was the standard, then you should compare. Most of the time, examiner used to give this value because this table are not providing during the examinations. What examiner used to do, examiner will calculate, or he will do the whole test at the beginning, and they will try to find out that what is the cutoff point, and this cutoff point will be given with the numerical on the top here as a test value. That calculate the independent sample t-test of the following set for a alpha level of 0.05, test value 2.10. They will add in the numerical only, that this is the test value by which mean you have to compare. So what you have to do, you have to solve the numerical, you have to calculate the t-score, and you have to calculate the t-score with the value given by the examiner. If your t-score is less than tabulated value or the value given by the examiner, you are able to prove that there is no difference between both the groups. Both groups are similar. And if your value, table value, or sorry, calculated value is more than the value given in the table or value given by the examiner, you are able to prove that there is a difference between both the groups. Both groups are not similar. And how much is the difference? You can compare from the mean. From mean of 1, you can reduce the mean of 2. For example, here you have value of 5 and you have value of 3.5. At least you can say there is a difference of 1.5. Mean difference is the value which we are quoting to show that how much difference is there between both the groups. Just hold on. So this is the way that how we are proceeding with the independent sample t-test. I'll show you in the SPSS. with another data set which I have made for my PhD project. For example, this is a sheet, and you can see that we have a gender here, and we'll apply test with what? We'll apply test with either with the BMI, or we can apply with the heart rate, or any other numerical value we can apply. That these are all numeric values, but I have to look that distribution of what is normal. I know that distribution of age was normal in my project, so we can apply with the age also. For that, what we have to do, we have to go to analyze, go to compare mean, and go to independent sample t-test. And this is the window for independent sample t-test, and you can see that this side I have all the variable which I have made for my study. I'll take age, that we are going to compare the age of male versus female. But before I'll proceed, what I have to do, I have to find out the codes which I have used for the gender. So for that, I have to go to variable view, and I have to look for the code. Yeah, code is used by me was 1 and 2. Okay, we'll go to data view, and we can perform the test. Go to analyze, compare mean, independent sample t-test, and this is the window. I'll move the age as a test variable on the top, and gender at bottom. Now you can see I'm getting a 2 question mark here, and I'll go to define groups. I'll click define groups, and I'll write the code. That one code is 1 and another code is 2. I'll click OK, and we'll see in option what we have, that what is the confidence interval of our study, 95%. That means cutoff point will remain 0.05. We'll click continue and OK. So here we got the results. I think it's visible to you. Still not visible. Let me check. Yes, now it's visible, and you can see that what we are finding, we are comparing the age of the patient between male and female. In male we have a 914 patients, in female we have a 1000 patient, and you can see that age of the patient somehow is similar, that there is no difference that much. But test of Leibniz is passed. I have got a very huge value, that 0.83. So I'm eligible for the test. And if I'll go for, and you see how much is the degree of freedom. Degree of freedom is 1912. That is n minus 2. My total sample size is 1914. So we have got the value 1912, and here you can see that how much is the difference of 0.37, at least something like 0 only. So still we have got here that there is no difference between the age of male and female in the project. I take another value where we'll get the higher score. I'll go to the data sheet, and we'll try to see, this is the shortcut. You don't have to run all the commands again and again. For example, last time I have applied a test for the normality distribution, so I can go here and I can find out the previous command. So directly I'm going to get a window which test I have applied last time. So instead of age, I'll take systolic blood pressure on admission. Here we are going to find a difference, and we'll click OK, and we'll see the test results. Let me check where is the output window. Just wait, we have a output sheet of SPSS. It is behind. I have to look for that, for the same where it is. Why it's not showing the results? Yeah, here we have our out. See, we have to look for the output. So output sheet has been maximized. I'll minimize this one. Here we have a. This is the output sheet. Uh, Variable view. Again, I'm getting the same thing. Actually, I'm not familiar with the Mac version. I was using from last 3 to 4 years SPSS and Window platform only. So whenever you will switch the device, you have some sort of problem like I am getting here. Okay, I'll shut down. I'll shut down all these things. Then we can start again so that I'll have a output sheet in front of me. I'll open the spaces. Now see, this is the version number 25. Whenever you will open spaces, you're going to get a version. And the previous sheet we are going to get. Okay, I'll go to analyze, compare mean independent sample t-test. We'll do systolic blood pressure as a dependent variable and gender as a grouping variable. Group is 1 and 2. Okay, weekly. Yeah, this is. I hope you are seeing the results. Now you can see here we have got a mean difference value. See, the significant value now is somehow near to a 0.05, but still little bit more than 0.06 we have got. As we are very closer to the significant value for the independent sample t-test, the value for Leibniz is going to reduce, but not always. I was looking for a variable where we are going to get a significant value, but here you can see that we have got around somehow very closer to a significant value, because here for male we have got a systolic blood pressure reading around 195.50, and for female is 194. How much far difference we are going to get between both the groups? We are going to get a lower and lower significant and two-tailed value, and higher the mean difference value. So still we have not got here the significant value. We can look for the another one more time. I should go for the during discharge, because during discharge in my project I have received a lots of difference. So systolic distribution of the patient during discharge we can find out, but this we have to remove first, and during discharge we can go and click OK. Yes, 0.09. Still we have got 0.09. It should be less than 0.05 for the test to be significant. This particular value, what we are looking for. here you can see here in one population we have got 138 and in another one we have got a 137. So when we have a difference in both the groups, then only we are going to get a significant value less than 0.05. But this should be test for Leibniz significant value should be more than 0.05. This we have to look for. And how we can quote the result? By using a mean difference. The higher the value of mean difference, it's good for our results. So like this, you can compare two different groups whenever you want to find out that there is a difference in the groups or not. That you are comparing two different drugs. So you can compare by applying this particular test called independent sample t-test, and the t-score as we have got here by applying the manually by hand. The same way we are getting here the t-score and the degree of freedom and the mean difference. Last three column value we are not using. So for researcher point of view, I will let you know that how to write the results. If my thesis are here or my research paper copy is here in my system, I will look for that. Just wait. I'll open window, go to documents, Sharma, PhD. These are my thesis. Where are my thesis? Thesis. Still, you have to customize your system in such a way so that you are able to get the document very easily. As this is the single file, and this is the thesis. I'll let you know that how I have started writing my research reports and all. Everything, whatever I did in a single file. Maybe there is some difference in the files. Sorry. Yeah, if you're working in a window platform and you switch to this MacBook, you're going to get this kind of error. Before exporting the documents, we have to convert the document into a format which is compatible to MS Office MacBook. Let me see. I have another copy of that we can able to open or not. You should have a copy. Yes, I have. Result chapter 5. Yes, as you can see, I think it's visible on the top. See, why this error I'm getting? This document contain a links. That means I have used a hyperlinks to refer the tables, to refer the different figures in my listen. See, the document was not made like this. It is showing somehow in pink color, but I think it's visible to all you guys. I'm just seeing on the screen. Yes, yeah, it's visible to you all guys, and you can see. I'll make little bit zoom so that you are able to see. See, as you will start writing the results, what we have to do, we have to write that where the study was conducted, what was the facility of that lab was there, and what was the study duration of your study. This you can mention. That means you are giving a description about your work and what was the in which disease you have worked what was the study population in your project. This you have to write at the beginning. Then you have to discuss that how you have calculated the sample size. This is the most common software, StatCal AppInfo, which I have used, which was designed by US Department of Health Science and Social Services, made by CDC, that is Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, Atlanta, Georgia, US. They have given a software, and this is widely accepted by most of the universities as well as the journals to calculate the sample size. And like this, you have to write that what was the confidence interval and cutoff point you are expecting for your research. As I have mentioned here, that I am taking as a confidence interval of 97% with the cutoff point of 0.03 as a significance level for my study. So all the statistical tests which I have applied in my thesis, for that cutoff point will be 0.03, not 0.05. But as I told you that I will not recommend you to go for that, because I have suffered a lot during my PhD, because uh, I have applied, I think, more than 1,000 times the statistical test, and out of 1,000 I have got only 32, 35 which was found significant, because most of the time we are not getting a p-value less than 0.03. So very uh, highly significant result was found to be having a value less than 0.03. So what I recommend, go for 95%, which is most commonly used in the academic research. So like this you have to mention on the on your thesis or in your research paper. And while calculating the sample size, you have to discuss that what was the population size. This was the population size where I, as per 2011, where I have conducted a study in Punjab, and you can see that my sample size was found to be 1098 as per the calculation. But in my SPSS sheet, how many patient was there? 1914. So after getting 1098 patient, what I did, I have started applying the test for the normality distribution as per the rule of stat. And when I got exact bell-shaped curve, when I got double number of patient, exactly when I reached to 1914, at that time I have got a bell-shaped curve. So there I have stopped, and after that I started doing the statistical analysis for my work. So what we did, the same thing I have written here, that sample size for my study was calculated as per software was 1098 patient, but it was not found normally distributed. So I have increased the sample size of my study. You have to quote the reference of Kolmogorov and Shapiro-Wilk, and a total number of patient which I have taken from the hospital was this much, 2622, suffering from diabetes mellitus and hypertension. And out of that, 708 patient was excluded from the study. And why this much patient was excluded? Because I have not got all the things from all the patients. For example, in my study I was having a 105 variables. So in 105 variable, in some variables few values were missing, but I need, what I was needed, that only 1914 patient was there, in which all the 105 variable data was entered in the SPSS. Remaining were considered as a missing value or something like that. So what we did, finally 70 patient I have excluded from the project, because data was missing due to XYZ reason. Either patient was expired, or I was not able to do the follow-up, or I have lost, because when they were admitted in the hospital, I got the data, and when I visited next time, so the case file was missing, and data was not available. So during due to that reason, I have excluded 708 patient, and finally the statistical analysis was having a 1914 patients. So by which version you have used the analysis, that also you have to quote, that which software you have used and how you have proceed. This is the way. See, it was not actually in pink color. This is due to software error. it was black color in my thesis. So this is the route that how I have followed. That data variable data I have got, I have divided all the variable into two different category, numerical and categorical. For categorical, I have used percentage, count, and frequency. For numerical variable, I have applied test for the normality distribution, and I was looking for a cutoff point, this p-value less than 0.03 for Shapiro-Wilk, not for the Kolmogorov, because I was having sample size less than 2000. For then that's why I have written only Shapiro-Wilk. So I was representing my result either mean or median based upon the Shapiro-Wilk reading. So as you'll move further, the same thing with the slide which I have shown you, that how I have proceed. I have entered the data was entered in SPSS, I was ready for the analysis or not, how I have decided. So a method of choosing parametric and non-parametric test, this. So from here, demographic profile of the patient I have started, and I'll show you that how I have written the result of age. Just one variable, how you are going to write. For example, if you want to write just directly by writing that age of the patient was found so much is not sufficient now these days. You have to write in a different way, that how I've written, out of 1914 diabetes mellitus patient admitted during the study period. Now I'm talking about majority. That majority of falling between age 71 to 40. To get this data, what we need we need a age to be a categorical variable. So whenever you want to generate a data in two different forms, in mean and SD, as well as in different ranges, so you have to made a two different variable in the SPSS. One is the original age which in which you are going to add, and second one is for age ranges 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, like this. Then only you are able to make a data like this. So how mean and standard deviation was referred. First, at least write the full form. That mean in your thesis will be quoted as sign of mu, and standard deviation will be quoted as SD capital. And this is the MLA style, how we are going to write the mean and SD. The previous style, that plus or minus sign, we are not using nowadays. Capital M you have to write is equal to mean age, and the standard deviation 11.54. Too much, 11.54 is the too much, with the minimum age was 18 and maximum age was 91 years. And you can see that this table you are going to get from SPSS if you have made a data, the variable of age with the ranges, that how many patients are following under what age. And this is the graph of bell-shaped curve which I have got, that histogram with the normality plot, and you can see that exactly bell-shaped curve I have got. Two little bit bar are going outside, but no issue. Still we have got a Kolmogorov value less than 0.05, but I was not bothered about Kolmogorov. I was bothered about Shapiro-Wilk, which was 0.22, more than 0.05. So because of this, I have decided that my data of age is normally distributed. I have added a QQ plot also. So once only you have to add in the thesis. Afterward, no need to give. For example, when I have shown the data of weight, height, BMI, fasting blood sugar, there that time I have just written that what was the normal value of Kolmogorov or Shapiro-Wilk, or the QQ plot was straight or not in terms of wording. But no need to give graph again and again. And you can see that here I have applied a one sample t-test. In one sample t-test, what I did, I was comparing age of my project with this author, Pava and Chandra 2016, and their age in their study was 51.80. And in my study, this is the reading of one sample t-test, test value 51.80 for Pava and Chandra, and difference was found 2.0 years. And you can see this is the p-value, degree of freedom n-1, 1913 I'm getting, and the t-score. So first table you can add and second table you can add in the thesis, but in the research paper I will not recommend you to add the tables because you have a word limit. So in research paper what you can write only this till here. If you want to write about age in your research paper, so you have to write only these 3 lines, that the mean age in this study was mean is equal to 54, standard deviation 11.54 as compared to the mean age that was observed with value previously measured 51.80 years by Pava and Chandra 2016. And this is the writing style of one sample t-test, how you are going to write the result of t-test. This value t sign you have to add in the bracket. You have to write the degree of freedom 1913. 7.68 is the test value. T score you should write in the bracket, and the p value always in italic, as I have written here that p value was found to be this much. So till here, for example, you are writing a research paper and you want to discuss the age of the patient in your study. So these 3 lines should be written in this format. This contain reference, this contain MLA and style. You have compared the result of your study with the other person by applying the one sample t-test. Or you can quote from here that one sample t-test was conducted to compare the mean age observed with so and so. Here, like this you can see. Then I switched once I have discussed everything about age, and you can see that how many age pages I have taken to discuss about age. Page number 1, page number 2, this was page number 3, means around 2 pages I have taken to discuss the age of the patient. We have provided the data in different forms, and then once everything about age has been finished, then I switched to weight distribution of the patient. Then I was discussing about weight. So like this, and yeah, for the weight also I have given a normality curve, and I have given a QQ plot, and you can see weight was distributed just because of a very small values. The normal cutoff point is 0.05, and I have got 0.05 exact value because data was deviating at the end. You can see from here it was deviating. And here you can see another way of comparing the things which you have already discussed on the top, that you can use for the comparison purpose. Like here you can see age I have discussed on the top earlier. So now here I can discuss the age with the patient. I made a graph called as box plot. This is called as box plot because small boxes are there, and this top edge is representing to highest, and lower arrow is representing to the lower value, and where I have a white color line that is representing to mean of that particular group. So this graph was made by SPSS. So what we did the comparison of age with the weight. So for this comparison we have not applied any statistical test. Just by using the data I have generated a graph, and graph has been added in the thesis, and we can see the difference, that how much mean is deviating from different mean we are getting here. Somewhere around 48, somewhere around 41, then around 50 we have, like this. So once I have discussed the age with weight, then you can see that one sample t-test was applied again. I have discussed the weight of the patient with the another author, and the name of the author was Patel. So what I did, I was referring this Patel et al. Research paper. From there, what I did, I took a value of the weight, what he has quoted. He has quoted in his paper that in his study, the weight of mean weight of the patient was 72.50. What I did, I have taken a value of my study, which was my mean weight was 77.95. So it means what? I was comparing this 77.95 with this 72, and we can see that 77 and 72 there is a difference of around 5 kgs. So that difference we have got here 5.44, and exact p value we have got less than 0.05. So degree of freedom, the t score we have got the same. And how I have written the results, in this way you have to write the results, that mean weight in this study. I have written that the mean weight in my study. So when I have given my thesis to my supervisor, he have deleted all those words that you are not going to quote my study. Just write in this study, or in my study, in our study. You can discuss in conclusion. You can discuss in the chapter called discussion, but that language we are not using while writing the result in the chapter called result. So here we should write in this study, where how much you can write this much mean and SD we have got. On the same time, we should compare with another person, another study, and what score we have got this. So this line I have, when I have written a research paper, so what I did, 3 lines I have taken from a age, 3 lines I have taken from a weight, and I was shifting these three lines to my research paper. So when I finished with the result part, that time my research paper was also ready with the references. And you can see when I will make it dark color, wherever you are seeing this dark color, these are the references and the table I have put it. If I click to this 5.8, I'm going to get this 5.8 table. These are called hyperlinks, which we have added. Directly, I have not written this table 5.8. I have given a route that if you are going to click on the PDF file of my thesis, the table 5.8 in the index page, it will take you to the 5.8 where the table was exactly located. So see here, then what I did a comparison of age with a in gender, age of the patient with the male and female. We have discussed that somehow similar mean we have got. So I have not added the test, but by just giving a graph I have discussed. This I can compare by using a independent sample t-test, but my independent sample t-test was found not significant. What I did, I have not added the test. I have just added the graph because I don't want to show the negative results. So I just added the graph so that the examiner will not say this thing that you are not compared the gender, age distribution of the patient versus gender. If you'll ask this question, I'll show this graph. So here you can see that one sample t-test was performed. That how we are going to write the results in the thesis or in the research paper to compare mean difference of age and weight. Here you can see that I have applied one sample t-test for age and weight together with the gender. And as a factor, I have one more factor also you can add, for example, if you want. So data of both I have given together in a single table, that like with age I have applied separately, with weight I have applied separately, but when I was showing the result, I have clubbed both the tables together and data was given in terms of single table. And I have shown here that which codes were used in SPSS. In male I have coded 1, female I have coded 2, and these are the test results for age and weight. And you can see age was found not normally distributed. I have got a value 0.47, but weight was found normally distributed, and with the weight I have added a star and star mark. I have written statistical significant. Higher the difference, mean difference you are going to get, there is more chances for the variable test to be significant. And you can see how I have written the results. This is the writing style of one sample t-test, independent t-test. That how you are going to write the one sample t-test. It was found that there was not a significant difference in the age, because two times we have applied one independent t-test, with the age once and with the weight second time, and with the age I have not got a significant result, but with the weight I have got. So with the star mark you can show, and this is the writing style, that weight of the male I have written separately and weight of the female I have written separately, where I have received a significant result. For when I was writing this result, this is for male, and this is for female, and where it has been started T 1912. See, other examiner, those who have a general knowledge or little bit knowledge about the statistics, by seeing the degree of freedom, they are able to find out that which test you have applied, you have done some plus or minus with the test or not, or what was your sample size. For example, here I have got a value 1912, so I can assume that my sample size was 1914, so n minus 2 I should get this value only here, 1912. I will not have a 1910, 1914, 1913. 1912 should be there if I'm writing that independent sample t-test was applied and degree of freedom is 1912. So what examiner will do, he will add 2 here, so he can find out that what was your sample size, 1914. See, and after that, once weight has been finished, then what we did, I have discussed age, I have discussed weight. Now third variable comes was height. So relationship of age with weight and height, all three together. Like this I have proceeded, and for that I have made a scattered plot matrix plot. This is also made in the SPSS only, but commands are different. I will let you know that how to draw all these plots in the later slide. So you can see that in one side I have a age, in one side I have a height and the age of the patient, and all three together, the comparison of all three together in a single graph you can make. So once I finished with two or three numerical variable, this was the first variable in my study, which was categorical. First variable categorical was gender, under male and female, but second was this one, that patient was admitted in the hospital from which ward. Directly they came to OPD, or they admitted in the hospital from the emergency ward. So you can see that most of the patient was admitted in the inpatient department from the emergency. First they will visit the emergency, then they will admit it in the hospital, and only 35% of the patients are there. Those who were feeling little bit well, they came to attend the OPD, and doctor have found that they know they require a hospital treatment, and they have advised to get admitted. So two categories and a categorical variable, we have shown our results in terms of frequency and percentage, and in the last line always add total. Last line always add total, so that uh, whenever you are showing your results, other can able to find out that it is out of 100 or what. Now here for categorical, the most common test which we are applying, that is chi-square test. This we have to do in the further classes. I think 2 or 3 days, after 2-3 days we are going to do this chi-square test. which will be used for the categorical variable. And writing style of chi-square is this. We have to use exactly the sign of chi, which was mentioned here. This one. This is the sign of chi, and this is, I have not done a superscript. This should have done a superscript on the top so that it can be visible. Oh, just wait. Yes. So this was, I was discussing that how I have proceeded with the writing the results, and whenever we have a significant result, directly we used to write that difference was found significant or not significant by writing the results in a single line. This is the writing style for any statistical test. And by seeing the icon in the starting, if you have a T, you are able to remember, or you are able to find out that it's a either a student T test or it's a independent T test. By seeing the degree of freedom, you can identify one sample T test or independent sample T test. And you can see the mistake which I did. I have not written the P value on italic. It should be in italic. This P value which you should write, it should be on the italic, this one. So I think I'll take the queries. I'll show on the remaining part of the thesis as I have applied the ANOVA in my thesis. So I will let you know that how we have going to write the result of ANOVA. And you can see this is a mirror. Top page, that page number 49 and page number 50 are not having a same formatting. It will be one is even page and one is odd page. So formatting for both the pages is the different. You can see how you can find out. This will be called as a mirror imaging, because whenever you are going to print the thesis, it will be left side or right side page. So this I also going to discuss when we will discuss about formatting of the thesis and research paper. And you can see one more difference, that I have added a landscape page on the running file, running Word file. So whenever you have a big table where you want to show multiple things together, so the table should be added in a landscape mode of the Word file. And again, you can switch back to the vertical mode. So still here, as you can see, this is the duration of disease and physical activity status of the patient. So all these were variable in my study. So when I have started writing the results, first I have finished all the around 60 to 70 variable by giving the descriptive statistics. And if I want, I have at the same time I have compared my result with the other person's study. But the comparison of my variable during inside my study, for example, comparison of BMI with the fasting blood sugar or random blood sugar, that I have done later on in the analytical statistics. So this 5.1 5.1 1 mean 5 means was the result chapter number 5 called result. 5 mean 1, the meaning of 1 was descriptive statistics of the patient. And here you can see that I was discussing a 12 number of variable in my study. That physical activity was the variable number 12. So like this I have finished 13 or 14, and you can see that different graph has been plotted with the help of SPS only. And here I have finished with the descriptive statistics. So once it was finished descriptive statistics, then I came to status of comorbidity. Now I have not switched to the patient profile. I came to disease, that from which different disease the patient was suffering from. So whatever I have discussed here, that was, you can see on the top till here, it is a descriptive statistics. and from here it is a analytical when I have applied a test, that you can see that chi-square test was performed to find out the difference. So it means what? That means status of comorbidity I have compared with some other variable, might be gender of the patient, or might be the patient was admitted from uh, emergency ward or from the OPD ward, something like that. Clear? So whenever you are writing results, it should contain both, starting with the description. So till here it was description, that during the study which kind of patient I have got and how many of percentage. If it is numerical variable, then we'll discuss about mean, median, SD, and if it is a categorical variable, we'll discuss about percentage, number and percentage. So which number should be written on the top, which is on the highest, that should be discussed first. And when you come to lower, you can see that here I have discussing about 16%, then 12, then 11, then 8, then 2.7, 2.5, 2.1, 1.9, 1.9, 1.3, from higher to lower order. So how to find out this? Arrange a table like this. The value which is on the highest, that should be written on the top. Might be when you will generate the table, you are going to get this value somewhere here. So with the SPSS, you can move from lower order to higher order. You can arrange, and it should be given, so that it will be easy to identify that which is the disease by which patient was suffering more. Now I can say that cardiovascular disorder, endocrine disorder, and renal disorder and hyperlipidemia was the most common comorbidities amongst the diabetes and hypertensive patients, followed by cardiovascular and renal disorders, like this. And what was the least which we have found? I'll just see at bottom that what I have got the least. I don't have to figure it out that where is the minimum value and where is the maximum value. So arrange accordingly, like this, from higher to lower order, until unless you don't require a alphabetical order due to any reason. You can see that our table has been arranged from higher to lower, but somewhere where I have found that it is not necessary, I have not did. For example, here you can see, here I have not done, but few things has been done, which is most common, that no complications. Then 2 or 3 which is most common, till here I have set. After that, okay, not necessary that much. So this will discuss as we will proceed further with the test, and I'll just take the queries if we have, then I'll finish the session. Okay, here we have a meeting. I'll just stop the recording because we don't want to record the sessions